Okay. So boundaries. I was always that person that thought like, oh, I am so good at boundaries. I'm the boundary queen. I know how these work. Let me tell you. And it turns out for a really long time, I was not incorrect. I was just shallow in my knowing about boundaries and what they are. And what that means is, in general, I thought like boundaries were like, I'm going to keep myself safe. I'm going to keep you out. You can't do that to me. I'm going to put a limit on this. Like, that's what I thought of as boundaries. And it's also what I've heard other people say about boundaries. So, with that being said, I'm going to take you down on a little memory road for a second. And over the summer, I went to a group coaching program that was also with horses, and it was amazing. It was called Live Your Gift with my personal coach, Geeta, and Ezra, and they own Herd Spirit. And we were doing an exercise about setting a boundary with one of the horses. And we weren't to use any physical manipulation in order to get them to stay there and create like space in between us, right? A boundary. There's space in between you and we're going to keep this space here so that we all feel safe, right? I was like, I got this. Boundary queen. Well, I didn't do very well. I got all like stiff and hard and kind of stared off over the horse's face and said like, you shall not pass. And who was I working with? I think I was working with Zip. And he put his head down and he just took a few steps towards me like, yeah, hon, this isn't how that works. That's not a boundary. I was like, okay, we'll try it again. And I did it again. And I got really, really stiff. And I was like, yes, I'm going to set a boundary. You shall not walk towards me. I got all hard and stiff again. And he was just like, still not it. And walked towards me. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? So I looked this horse straight in the eyes. And I was like, oh, I have to include you in this. You have to be part of this process. It's not just about me keeping myself safe, but it's also about keeping you safe. And what that means is we have to create an agreement together, right? We have to have what I like to call a container. So that was this moment of super clarity where I was just like, oh, I have to include this into you. So I got real soft and I looked him in the eyes and I just like held this really loving space in between us. And he didn't move. I could have walked away. He would have stayed there. He would have been connected with me still. And it was amazing. And that changed all of my knowing about boundaries from there on out. It was just like now I have new information. My learning is deepened. So what I would like to invite you to do is put it in the chat. Again, there's a big delay. What you think a boundary is and how you've been using boundary in your own life. Just really quickly. And I'll tell you what my previous learning was exactly that was it's a boundary. You don't come near me. You don't get to hurt me. You don't get to say that to me. You, me, right? Like you're not going to do something to me. I'm keeping you out. And when I was even preparing for this little live that I have going on here, I was thinking about like, if we're thinking about this boundary as like a wall, keep people out. Well, what happens when you let people in, right? Then they're on the inside of the boundary and they're staring at that wall. And what if that makes them feel like they're trapped? And that really had a lot of resonation with me with, I create this boundary of like, you have to be this thing in order to stay here. In order to stay in my safety place, you have to show up this way. And that can make people feel uncomfortable, trapped. They don't feel safe because they don't really know what to expect and they don't have a say in it. So what we're going to talk about today is boundaries in the terms of containers. And containers are just cooperative agreements. I usually have a nice little mason jar that I use for this demonstration, but I don't have it. So I'm going to use my coffee cup. So this is a container. Everyone knows this is a container. Everyone knows what it looks like. Everyone knows that stuff goes in it, and you take it out when you want to take it out, right? So when we're talking about boundaries with another person, creating a container, an agreement with another person, is we take the top off and we say, hey, you person, I'd like to create this agreement with you. What should we put in this agreement? And then you decide. Are we going to be kind, loving? Is it going to be romantic? Is it going to be a parental relationship? Am I going to teach you? Am I going to support you? Are you going to support me? Are you going to teach me? Right? It's a back and forth, a give and take. You're going to put things into the agreement. I'm going to put things into the agreement, into the container. And that's what we decide on, right? And then we're like, yes, we have an agreement. Perfect. So what happens when someone tries to put something in the agreement, in the boundary, in the container that you don't like? Oh, I don't really like the way you just spoke to me. That was not nice. That was not kind. Then you get to say, ooh, I don't like that. I don't think we should put that in the agreement. Do you need to update our agreement? Do you need to put something else in here? Or do we just need to agree to not have a container right now? I hope that makes sense. If you're here and that makes sense, put a little yes or a no, or I'm confused, or an emoji. Let me know you're here. So the really cool thing about boundaries being containers or cooperative agreements is you can always renegotiate an agreement. Agreements are always up for conversation. You can always put new terms, new understandings, new expectations. I don't like the word expectation, but we'll get to that point. So you're not locked into when we first meet, I'm setting a boundary with you and you're never going to cross this boundary, or I'm going to cut you out, or you're meeting this boundary and now you're on the inside, and don't ever do anything different than that, because then you're on the outside. Does that make sense to everybody? So we get the opportunity to, hi Lori. We get the opportunity to create something new with someone every single day, which is really fantastic, especially when we're talking about being parents. So that's the whole focus of this, is what does it mean to set a boundary in your relationship with your children? And why is that important? So I want to step into that. Why is it important to have boundaries with anybody? And the biggest importance that I put into it is humans really love to be able to predict behavior. They love to know what's going to happen. They love to know who's going to show up. They love to know what kind of behavior is going to result from something that they have done. And vice versa, right? We like to know what other people are going to do if we do said thing. So that's the main thing, right? And if you think about having really clear boundaries, really clear agreements, other people are able to easily predict how you will behave. I was trying to think of examples before I came on, and one of those examples is when you think about feeding your pets. If you were to go every day over to the container that holds your dog or cat's food, take food out, and go over to their bowl, and then not put the food in the bowl, but put the food on the ground. Right? There's a food bowl, but you put the food on the ground. Then the dog knows that the food is not going in the bowl, the food is going on the ground, and they know that that's normal, right? That's expected. If one day you wake up and you go and you get food out of their food container, it's always in the same place, and you put the food in the bowl, and it's abnormal, the dog might be like, whoa, what's up? What has changed? This is not our agreement. You've been telling me over and over again that the food goes on the floor, and now it's different. Now imagine if every day you got up and you took some food out and you walked over to the dish, but only every 5th to 7th day you put it in the bowl versus the floor. So it was really inconsistent. So the dog never really knew what was going on. Well, that's the agreement. And the dog would probably eat the food, whether it's on the floor or in the bowl. Doesn't matter. So when we're talking about with kids, what I do with mine is they know very clearly when I say I can do something or I can't do something, or if they need to wait, they know that that's going to happen because I have exhibited that behavior in the past. So if I say to them, I'm going to finish doing this one thing and then I will be with you, and I do that, then they know that that's what my agreement is, the expectation, the knowing, right? They can predict that the behavior will come, that they will do, or that I will show up to whatever they need me to do next. If I say, you have to wait and then I'll be with you, but I never actually follow through with them, they will not expect or predict that I will come back to them. And so they will try to get their needs met in different ways. Screaming, crying, yelling, avoidance, lying. We see all of those things in our kids, and a lot of the times it's because we as parents are being inconsistent about how we interact with them. We're not clear about our boundaries with them. We're not clear about our agreement that we have with them in order to show up and be consistent and all of those things. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat about this so far. I know that boundaries can be a little bit confusing at times, and I know I'm talking really, really fast. And I don't know why. It's just one of those days where you're like, everything is fast. For those of you who don't know, who are in the chat, my friend Lori, who said, so good to see you after so many, many years. I used to know Lori when I lived in Yosemite, when I was all of 20 and 21 years old. And Lori is from South Africa and now living in New Zealand with his wife and children. Just so exciting. I love social media and being able to connect with people and stay connected with people, and they're all over the world. It's amazing. Yeah. Yes, Janet, the lying, your kids rarely do it because you follow through, you tell them the truth. That's exactly right. When we model and have a boundary, an agreement of truth telling, then our kids see that and they know that that's what's expected in the relationship, right? They know that if they don't put truth into the container, that there will be not the desired outcome that they want. So it's great. So this is all good and wonderful, and we love knowing about what boundaries are and how they're good. But the real good stuff comes down to how do I implement, how do I create new agreements and new boundaries with people in my life, particularly with our children. And I was able to get this down into 4 easy steps. They're not easy, but there's only 4 steps. So the first step, and this is the most important step in my opinion, is be clear about your needs. And I don't mean what you need from them or what you think you need, but like, what are my individual needs? What do I need to have in this moment, in this relationship, in this time in my life, on this day? What do I need? This was a question that was asked by my coach of me. She didn't know the impact of it at the time, but it completely unlocked my ability to function in a way that supported me and everyone else around me. If I checked in and I said, what do I need right now? And the answer is, I need it to be quiet, then that's what I need. For those of you who don't know who are here, I am neurodivergent. I am on the autism spectrum, and noise, touch, any kind of sensory overload is one of my biggest triggers for me, where I'm just like, my brain is on fire and I'm screaming and yelling. So to minimize the screaming and yelling, I focus in on what do I need right in this moment. If that need is I need it to be quiet, then I do that. I say that out loud. I say, this is what I need. It's not what I need from you. It's just what I need right now is it to be quiet. That's it. If I need some food, then that's my need. If I need water, then that's my need. If I need to be somewhere, then that is my need. If I need to be somewhere for someone else, like my kids are sick and I need to do that, then that's my need. The reason that this isn't so simple is it's hard for us sometimes to connect with that need and to be okay with that need. To allow us to say, I have a need and I'm putting that in front of everybody else. And I know I've said need like a lot, but this is really important. So that's step number 1. Be really clear about your needs. Step number 2. Be really clear about what you want in the relationship. Who's standing in front of you? What agreement do you have with this person? What is the relationship like with this person? And do you want them to trust you or do you not want them to trust you? Do you want them to need more of you or need less of you? Do you want to support them or educate them? There's always a different desire that you have for a relationship. And you have to be really clear about what that is when you're setting this new agreement, this new container. So step number 1, be really clear about your needs. Step number 2, be really clear about what you want in the relationship with that person that you're with the person that you're in this boundary setting with. Step number 3, communicate clearly. And what I mean by communicate clearly is state your need. Be clear about that it's your need, not that you need them to do something, but that you have a need. And then clear about what your intention is to create in the situation that's happening right at that moment. And I'll use my kids and my needs. I cannot mentally do 2 tasks at once or I become overwhelmed. If I try to do them both at the same time, I do both very shallowly and then I get flustered and confused. And then that leads to overwhelm. And when I have overwhelm, then I don't function very well as a mother. So when I have a need, such as I need to eat, or I need to get food ready for my kids, that's a great example. Kids are like, I'm hungry, what can I eat? And we say like, okay, you want a food plate, you want chicken nuggets, you want whatever it is, you want a sandwich. And then I go get up to do that task. If I'm in the middle of doing that task and my kids come to me and start telling me about something else or wanting me to do something else or look at me or watch me do this, then my need in that moment is to finish the task. So I say to myself, I need to finish this task before I can accommodate them. And step 2, what do I need out of this relationship, or what am I trying to get out of this relationship right now, is I'm trying to provide you with something, and I will come back to you and look at you and hear your story once I'm completed with this task. Right? So I've communicated clearly what I need and what I want to create in that relationship right then, which is trust that I'm going to come back, trust that I am taking care of them in that moment, and also I'm modeling behavior for them to say that it's okay to put a limit on something. It's okay to not be everything for everybody all at once. That it's okay to focus on your own needs, right? Like that, I want my girls to know that that's important and okay to do in life. So, step 1, be clear about your needs. Step 2, be clear about what you want in that relationship at that time. Step 3, communicate clearly. And step 4, last step, be consistent. Being consistent with this process means that the people that you have agreements with know what to predict. It's taken my girls about 2 to 3 months to really understand the agreement that I'm trying to have with them, which is, I have needs, I'm trying to service you, can't all happen all at once, and that's going to happen every time, right? Like I will consistently show up, and in each moment I get to decide where I'm at with my needs, and they know that. They know that if I have the capacity to do something, that I'm going to say yes. They don't feel like they're trying to manipulate me or get away with something. It's, oh, mom can be here or mom can't be. That's cool. And it's not about them. It's not about them not being enough. It's not about me not being enough. It's just really good, like a good arrangement of consistency and trust and love and truth and safety. Right? Like my story at the beginning where I was trying to create this container, this boundary with a horse. And I was like, oh, this is about both of our safety, not just mine. Right? Like when my kids know how I am, they feel safe. When I know how I am, I feel safe. When I know how they are, I feel safe. And because I'm modeling this behavior of being in tune with what we need, how to be there for everybody without letting go of who we are and being able to communicate that clearly, my kids also get to do that with me. And they're 5.5 and not quite 4 yet. And they can do that. They can tell me what their needs are. They can tell me what was possible for them in each moment with me. And they can communicate that clearly. And we are consistent in that with everyone. And I show up the same way for them. Like I validate their needs and all of those types of things. So I'm wondering if anybody has any questions or if that's all been really confusing. I never really know when I do these things. I just start talking and rambling. I had notes, but it's not always the same. So I do have some information here at the end. I know a few of you have been here for a couple of the different lives, and I really appreciate that. I am doing some group coaching that's coming up this month. Just kidding, next month starts July. And there's 2 different functions. I have one that's strictly for parents that are going through either they have a neurodivergency or they're parenting children that have neurodivergency to support that. It's a very, very specific way of parenting, as well as another group that will be larger, more inclusive of all kinds of needs. And they're both under my Create boundary background of having the courage to release, allow. I don't remember what they are. Here, I'll show you the image. We'll read it. The courage to release, embrace, accept, and transition to excellence. That's what it is. It's all about getting really clear about what we need and being able to show up for the people around us consistently and be the best person that we can. So I do want to give you a few links for that if you want more information on them. Here is the link for just the general information. I'm trying. Copy. Oh, it will not let me put it in. I'll put it, most of you are here from Facebook, so on the event page, I will go ahead and put those links in case you guys want to check those out, or you can just run over to my website. I'll put that in the chat if I can type. There is, maybe you guys can see it. I think it's only doing my chats to YouTube. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I love talking about boundaries, and if you have any other questions about this, please send me a DM or an email, however works for you, or a text if you have my phone number. I love that too. And we can talk about boundaries more, or parenting, or all of the other things that I have going on, or just to reconnect. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys soon.